giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by the Cochran Firm and Boston Scientific, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, I am your host, Will. Come on now. Skywalker Steele. Boom! Got a happy birthday shout out to Stephen White, a.k.a. Stephen Jones of the Cowboys YouTube community. Enjoy it. Hopefully I give you a good show. Today, we are diving into the lab. It's Tape Tuesday, and we're going to talk about how the Cowboys did that right there. How they finished the fight. Breaking down that final drive and what went right and what was different from the other drives in the game. Cowboys also got their veteran wide receiver, but it ain't Odell Beckham. It's TY Hilton. And I got some thoughts on that, obviously, and I want to hear from y'all about your thoughts on that. And as you can see in the title, why I think T.Y. Hilton could be the Jason Peters of this room. Stick around for that. You want to call into the show, you obviously can. 351-999-3787. Already got a caller on the line. Salute to y'all. Love to hear from you. You guys are my passengers in this whole thing. I tell y'all that all the time. Shout out to y'all, the Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Yes, indeedy. We in here early. I love it, man. I love it. I went back and watched the tape on this one here, and it was tough because for most of that game, it sucked. But I was joking with Vach yesterday. I said, when you really look at it, though, the first and last drive really were the drives of the game for the Dallas Cowboys in regards to a smooth operating offensive drive. Everything else in between was very clunky. And we'll hear from Dak on some of the things that they threw at him. We'll get to my sky optics, some of the things that I saw, the concerns. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but now we got the tape, and you'll see when I get the sky optics. I just hope that we learn from our mistakes as opposed to previous year. But nonetheless, got a good show lined up for y'all. I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll enjoy it. And before we get to before we get to the tape and we jump into the lab, we got to have a real discussion about the T.Y. Hilton thing, man. I think it's interesting, and I do think it should put the Odell Beckham thing to bed. I don't know. I want to hear from y'all. Y'all let me know. But let's get right into it. No, this is not going to be a complicated show. We're getting right through it, and dare I say, it won't be long.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, they do it! Hey! Oh, they do it!
Hey! Yo. Man, this really sucks for Terence Steele, man. Like, I'm legitimately more upset about this than the way the game went down. I wasn't even really upset about the game. You know, like I said yesterday, I'm not mad, just not pleased. Nonetheless, it is confirmed Terence Steele tore his ACL, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say his MCL as well. Which means we probably won't see Terence Steele until sometime after camp, hopefully preseason, hopefully by the start of the season. I know y'all like, well, Scott, doesn't it take almost a year? Yes, but we're talking about a tackle as opposed to a wide receiver, so maybe it's a little bit, I don't know, man. Obviously, we'll get Dr. Boothby on here to talk about the difference of a 300-something pound man and a 190-pound man tearing his ACL. And the different variations of what they have to do. But nonetheless, that's something later down the line. Terence Steele was obviously out for the season. He is a restricted free agent, though. So he'll be back, I think, whether it be on a long-term deal or the restricted free agent tender. Often bring this up about him when we talk about this in the offseason. He was a guy I wanted to get at early to sign a long-term deal. Now, I'm not saying Stephen Jones is smiling. I would hate to say that. But I think Stephen Jones is like, got him. Y'all know who Drewski is? I wish I had the damn thing. Drewski said, got him. We got him. I'm making light of the situation. The situation is serious, but seriously, this is a Stephen Jones special. Oh, we got a young player who was trending up, but he got injured in a contract year. 3-year, $10 million deal. No, it won't be that low, but they will definitely be going to Terence Steele's agent on some, hey, we were going to come to y'all anyway. What do you think about this long-term deal now? And it's going to be tough for them to be like, no, because I get it. He can come back next year and put on a show again and then go into free agency. But you also say, well, what if he doesn't come back right? What if it does take him a year and he's kind of just mid and then he puts on the next year and he wants to protect himself? So I do think, unfortunately, Stephen Jones got him. So this is very early, December 13th. But if I had to just guess, I think Terence is going to sign a long-ish term deal sometime in the offseason because he got injured. I hate to say that, but I've seen this happen a few times here in Dallas. In the meantime, in between time, before we get there, McCarthy came out yesterday and was like, yeah, there's going to be a rotation with Jason Peters and Josh Ball. Well, we'll see how long that rotation lasts. I think the concerns here about Jason Peters being right tackle is not so much his talent, more so is can he deal with 65 snaps for the next 7 weeks at 40 years old? That has to be my thought process here, because there's just no way, man. There's just no way you think you can rely on Josh Ball for 40 snaps in a game. But this is the corner we've been backed into due to the injuries. It's like if it ain't one thing, it's another. And you get Tyron Smith back, and now Terrence goes down. But keep an eye out on that. It could be gamesmanship. It could be McCarthy just saying that. I would definitely ask some guys down there this week, y'all, if anybody else is working over there. I know we got Avante Collins on the practice squad, but I'm talking about other higher level players. I wonder if anybody else is going to be doing dual stuff. We saw this happen with La'el Collins. I also, in watching the film, I'm not saying surprised, but they once again sat Tyler Smith on the bench for the combination of Jason Peters and Connor McGovern. I'm not sure I quite understand why they're doing this. I get it. We want to see what I shouldn't say I get it. I see what they're trying to do, but I don't understand why they're doing it. If you're going to want to look at a Jason Peters left tackle situation, then Tyler Smith needs to be at left guard. It was a whole entire series that Tyler Smith wasn't out there. I thought that was strange to me. But nonetheless, we'll follow this and see what happens with that right tackle situation. The big news, however, the breaking news yesterday was the Cowboys got their veteran wide receiver and they signed TY Hilton. Tried to trade for Brandon Cooks. That didn't work. Inquired about Jerry Jeudy. That didn't work. Looked at some other outside free agents. That didn't work. Courted Odell Beckham like a prom queen. That didn't work. I will settle on T.Y. Hilton. It is clear, man. It is clear they really wanted to address this wide receiver position. Now, I know I said they got all the ingredients, and that is true. I do believe they have the ingredients. But that ingredients came with the ability to cook. And fantastic analogy by Los yesterday. You can have your grandmama's special ingredients, but if you don't know your way around the kitchen, it don't matter. And I still believe they have the ingredients. I just don't believe in the cook. So if the cook is very inconsistent in the way he's going to prepare the meal, one time, one day, 1 week, whatever, it's really good. The next day, it's like, it's missing that spice you put in last week. What happened? Maybe they're thinking TY Hilton is this spice that they'll never miss out on week to week. Hear me when I say this. I'm not saying TY Hilton's a missing piece or anything like that. TY Hilton's not going to come in here and I don't think shake, rattle, and roll that room. But I don't think we can deny, Cowboys Nation, there is not a wide receiver in the room, at least experienced enough, that has the makeup of a TY Hilton. And what I mean is, TY Hilton still has some ability to be sudden, quick, can snag the ball, contested areas, all that stuff, right? He's not, look around the room, not 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds, 200 plus, possession wide receiver. That's not TY Hilton. He is the exact opposite of what you got in that room. And the more I talk about this, Cowboys Nation, let me bring it back here. The more I'm wondering, because it's clear as day, Mike McCarthy is not a fan of a specific slot wide receiver, right? I don't want a slot guy. I like guys who move all around. All right, whatever, Mike. But you do need to have somebody that has that slot ability, that slot ability. And TY has that, but TY also has the ability to go outside. For a guy that's small in stature, he is really damn good at tracking the ball deep too. And that's kind of where I want to pick this thing up at with TY Hilton. There's a number of reasons why TY Hilton can be here. Last year, he played in 10 games, 37 receptions, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy. Mike McCarthy had this to say about TY Hilton. He's been working all year. He's in great shape mentally. He had to work out. Yeah, he worked out. Everything past flying colors. He's been working all year. We'll get him out there Wednesday and get him acclimated. Also, there was a report that he might play Sunday. It's fast. Nonetheless, though, I tend to wonder if they're going to get him involved with the deep ball. It's no secret, man. The Cowboys have been nerfed this year. They've been nerfed. And for the most part, it's been okay. Right? I said it before, they've replaced the explosive plays deep with the efficient splash plays underneath. Problem is, teams will welcome that. And I don't know if he's necessarily going to be your deep ball guy consistently because he also has the ability to get open underneath. But on targets of 20 plus yards last year, not many, 7, but it was highly efficient. 4 receptions, 169 yards, 1 touchdown on 20 plus yard targets. So, you can see it in these throws right here that he has that innate ability to track the ball extremely well. And before you say, well, we don't throw the deep ball with Dak Prescott, well, I would tell you this right now. He has a higher deep ball percentage than Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Joe Burrow. So he is throwing the ball deep at a higher rate than some of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. The problem is you don't have that guy anymore. Listen, as much as I love Michael Gallup and Dak Prescott's deep ball trust, that's gone. This ain't 2019 no more, man. It's not there. Michael Gallup is still recovering. He's still trying to get back right. And he's just kind of an afterthought when they single him up out there. Which, and bring it back, is why I don't understand why they don't single up CD Lamb. And what I mean by single up, you'll see in some of these formations, they'll have a 3-by-1 or they'll have usually it'd be like a 3-by-2 with the running back on one side, and you'll have Michael Gallup and a tight end. Only time they'll put CD Lamb out there is when they're motioning CD Lamb to get to that 2-by-3 set. But for whatever reason, when Michael Gallup is singled up, he's an afterthought. We're going to try to look into this flooded area because they're usually trying to flood some stuff over there. But nonetheless, I want to bog you down with the X's and O's. There isn't a guy on the team that has shown to have that ability to win deep. What I mean by win deep, I don't mean by just throw it up and moss somebody. I mean by threatening. I mean by getting separation, all that stuff. It hasn't really happened this year. And I'm just wondering if TY Hilton is going to be able to bring that ability to this team, because if he's going to be used that way early, it won't require a whole lot of knowledge of the playbook right away. But if he's going to be more option route guy, if he's going to be more I need to get open right now underneath guy, then it is going to require a little bit more knowledge of the playbook and how Dak likes to do things, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my wonder on TY Hilton. But question to you. I don't use the word confidence. Are you high, low, or meh on the TY Hilton pickup? That's where we'll go. Are you high, low, or meh? I should have put another one in there, because I'm about a little bit above meh. Here's why. I don't want to be faking the funk here. I'm not saying I'm high on this, but I do think there's potential for this to have a high impact because of what I think he can do from a veteran leadership, a veteran wherewithal, awareness, whatever, experience standpoint. And that's why I say he could possibly have a Jason Peters effect. I said this yesterday talking to Vaj. In that room, when you lost Amari Cooper, you lost a guy that can go to a CeeDee Lamb, that can go to a Dak Prescott, that can go to a Kellen. I don't know if they had that relationship. But you can go to these guys and say, hey, man, he's sitting on this comeback route we constantly do. What if I just hit a double move? Everybody else continue this comeback route, but let me hit a double move on them. Hey, man, when they're playing this cover two, and you see that turkey hole shot, that honey hole shot, just look off for 1 second and then fire that thing. I'm going to be there. Trust me, I'm a beater. Nobody really got that kind of cachet, right? Like CeeDee Lamb is still third year. He's young. He's still trying to figure all this out. Michael Gallup's a very quiet guy. He just goes out there, does his job. Hell, he don't even argue with the damn officials when he should be. And I hate to say that, but it is what it is. Dalton Schultz, that's not Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is just catching stuff underneath. James Washington just got here. And Noah Brown is a career special teams guy that's just happy to get the ball thrown his way. But there's really not that big homie, that veteran that can go to Dak, that can go to the coaches and say, hey, this is how they're playing me, or this is how they're playing him. Let's try this. Maybe they're doing that. But I'm just guessing here. But when you lose a veteran guy like that, they really didn't replace it with a veteran guy like Amari. And they don't even really got to be at a talent level. They clearly didn't replace it from that talent level. But I wonder if TY could have that Jason Peters effect, meaning Jason Peters really didn't have a crazy impact on the field for quite a while because he was doing things behind the scenes. You heard Tyler Smith talk about, man, I learned so much since Jason Peters got here. He's helped everybody in this room. I think TY can do that as well. He may not be the 1,400-yard receiver anymore, but what if he can help CeeDee Lamb mature as a number one? What if he can help a Noah Brown do some slot things? What if he can help a Jalen Tolbert? All these guys. So I think his impact will be felt behind the scenes, maybe more than it is felt on the scenes, but I'm hoping it's reversed, or at least there's equalness to it. So that's kind of where I'm at with TY. I'm not down on this at all. I'm not super high on it, but I think there's ability to kind of hit that high note if his impact is felt off the field as much as it is on. And with that said, let's talk to the bomb squad right quick. Pulse of the Nation hotline presented by the Cochran Firm. Make sure you guys hit up Larry and Brian down at the Cochran Firm. They've been protecting and serving and fighting for this DFW area community since 2005. Listen, I think it's raining out there. It's a little ugly. It's tornado warnings going around in Texas. Normally that means y'all can't drive. So if you get into any type of accident or anything of that sort happens to you, make sure you hit up the Cochran Firm at 1-800-THE-FIRM or contact them at CochranTexas.com for your free consultation today. James, what's goody with you?
Hey, it was good, man.
I'm chilling, man. How are you?
So I'm good. I'm gonna just say this. I like your take on Ty. Now, here's my couple of things. Now,
All right.
I don't know. I haven't seen him play in a while, so I'll say this as far as the pros and the cons. The cons is the last few times he's played, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Please help me out. Wasn't his quarterback a quarterback that was toward the end of his career in Phillip Rivers, and he didn't have really another supporting cast receiver to take the load off of Hilton?
The latter is
That's kind of one.
the latter is correct. The
Right.
former is wrong. His last quarterback was Carson Wentz.
Okay, my bad. But I think I think this much. Now as far as the pros go, I think you got a guy who runs decent routes. I think the speed is maybe not 4.3 like it used to be, but I think he's still got enough speed to do what he needs to do. And I think last but not least with him, if you can get even a 50% of TY in his prime, okay, to offset everything else. Now you got to look at Jason Peters came in, and I'll give you an example. He came in and he did what he needed to do because he still, could play tackle and whatever, and it made, everything else kind of balance out. Well, TY is coming into a system where we already have CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown is, playing out his mind, I'm not
Playing
saying,
out his mind.
I think he's playing good. He showed up to me when he needed to be there. It doesn't mean got 90 receptions, but I think he's done pretty good. I'm giving him an E for effort.
You said playing out his mind, so I had to.
Well,
he's
for
not
me,
playing out his
compared to
mind.
what he had been playing, though, Will Still, I mean, to me, that is why I said it, because compared to him before, he was non-existent. He wasn't even playing. So what he's doing now, to me, is the reason I said it. It's a lot more of an upbeat than it was for him in his career, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
If you can get with that, I might use the wrong words, but anyway, to kind of continue what I was saying, I think it's going to balance out, and I think it's going to be better for us because it's going to, I think, have somewhat of the effect of, I think CD is probably going to not get doubled or whatever, and I just think that TY is he's just going to be him, and I just think it's going to be similar to maybe, I don't know, I'm probably going to catch hell for saying this, but I think it might be a little bit of a stretch, but maybe it's kind of a question, but I'm going to say, do you think this could be a little bit like last year where, we can kind of count on the passing game when we need to now that we have another veteran wide receiver in the room?
I think you're expecting a lot. I mean, if that happens, that'd be awesome. But I don't look at T.Y. Hilton taking attention away from 88. I think it's the other way.
I don't think he's going to be the savior, but I think he's going to help.
I don't think he's going to take the attention away from 88. Unless 88's taking attention away from T.Y. That's the whole point, right? Is that teams are paying attention to CeeDee Lamb, so we need another guy that can kind of get open in one-on-one situations, whether it be deep threat or whatever underneath or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we need that guy that can be sudden and get open right now, unless it's a deep threat. I don't know how they're going to use him, but I don't think it's flipped. Maybe if you got a healthy Odell Beckham, then they might be say, we got to watch out for Odell Beckham.
Yeah, well that's a whole nother.
But a 33-year-old T.Y. Hilton, I don't see that. I don't see that helping 88 as much as 88 is going to help him, if that makes sense. From a schematic X's and O's standpoint.
Yeah, it does, and I like I said, I always respect your and Botch's opinion. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong because you guys definitely know your stuff.
If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong on TY. I just
me too.
That feels like a bit of a stretch.
I kind of think, I don't know if this is what you're thinking or what you're saying. I kind of think, we like going to a car dealer. You wanted a certain kind of car. You couldn't get it. You couldn't afford it. So you're like, okay, I guess I'll take this one. I don't know if that's kind of what it's like. I don't know if that's what you're saying.
Come on, yeah. T.Y. Hilton was 100% the last option here. They tried to trade for Brandon Cooks. They inquired on Jerry Jeudy. They inquired on a couple other guys, Denzel Mims, Odell Beckham stuff, and then they settled on T.Y. Hilton. So yeah,
T.Y. is the only guy that was out there, but I think he'll still help us out in the long run. I'm not going to say, like I said, he's not going to be the saving grace, but I think to give him a little more credit than probably others are probably going to give him. I think we'll probably get a little more out of him than I think a lot of people think. So I think it'll help. I don't think, like I said, it's not the savior, but I think it'll help.
Man, I hope so, because y'all know I've been coming on here bugging y'all all year about how poor
Yeah.
this passing concept is from 11 personnel set, and it
Exactly.
showed its ass in this game against the Texans, man. It really did.
Right.
So it was frustrating watching this film.
It was for me too, because I'll be honest with you, man. I was one of those. I've been a fan for like going on 40 years. Okay, and I'll tell you what. Like I don't know if you were to ask this question if Cowboy Nation would be real with this, but when the last interception was thrown and our defense had to bow up and just make a total stand, I'll bet you most of us, including myself, when that last pick was thrown, I'm like, game's over. That's it.
I said it yesterday.
I said that
when I did the
I said that too.
the breakdown, which I'm going to try to do more often on Mondays.
Right.
But I said once that pick happened, I was like, game over. I just thought the game was over, man.
And then the other thing I told you and Vach yesterday in your guys' show on the volume, Ball's got to go, man. Ball's trash. He got to go.
Well, he might be starting, so.
I hope not. And being an offensive lineman, the rotational thing, it's not healthy. Yeah. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you, Will. I appreciate you taking the call.
Appreciate you as always, James. Yeah, this is an interesting one here with TY. I hope he plays this week, to be honest. I hope he plays. Let's get a couple more up in here. Who was next? We have Mr. Ronnie, my Reading brother. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. God bless you and the family and the show like always. As the TY Hilton situation, I think TY can help us in a couple things because he's needed. There's a veteran present.
Yeah.
He's going to help a lot of the receivers and teaching them a couple things, like how to be more crafty. And also, too, TY with Dak Prescott, that he makes receivers better because when we got Cobb over here, Cobb had a good season. It seems like the receivers that haven't been doing too good, he seems to bring them up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that T.Y. Hilton is going to be the superstar of the team, but I think a lot of things that he's going to bring to the team can help us because I've been, like I told you, my son, he was a Colts fan, the Colts fan, and I used to watch a lot of his games, and I used to see a lot of things that T.Y. Hilton did for the Colts, and I just think that really that it is not the best pick, but it's a solid pick.
Right. I agree with you. T.Y., I say growing up, I want to say that. I ain't that young. But watching T.Y. come up in the league, he was one of my favorite non-Cowboy, players, receivers, whatever to watch, man, because he was a smaller guy, but he was playing big. And like I said at the top of the show, I have this affinity for these smaller guys that have the ability to track the ball down the field because they're not huge. They're not 6'3", 6'4" guys that are out jumping everybody, but he has this really good ability to wait till the ball gets there, find it, and then get his hands on it real fast. And that helps him because defensive backs are taught when it's deep balls like that, your head's not turned, watch their hands. And he's just fantastic at doing that. And I'm hoping that will give some confidence in our play calling and in Dak to go deep to T.Y. Hilton if he's here for that, man, because he can do that well. I know that. He did it well last year.
Yeah, and then also, too, because, like, with Dak, he's the type of quarterback that when he got crafty receivers, he knows how to work with them.
Yes,
once he gets a feel for them, he knows. Because when we got Cobb had, he did good with Brett Favre, but he looked really good with Dak Prescott, too.
Yeah.
But anyway, my brother, like always, God bless you and the family in the show, and you and Vosh keep up the good work.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Mr. Ronnie. Yeah, Randall Cobb was the prototypical slot guy here in Dallas, and that's kind of what I was hoping that they would use James Washington as. And James Washington got hurt, and it was like, whatever, he gives you whatever. I'm not really looking at him. Now, will T.Y. be that guy? I don't know. It's kind of late here. 4 games left in the season. Then we get to the postseason. I hope he does play. I feel like he needs to get acclimated sooner rather than later because, that game coming up the following week, I'd love to have more weapons than less going against that team. So let me get Glenn up in here, and y'all killing these phone lines today. We're going to get Glenn, then I'm going to hit Sky Optics. What's good, Glenn?
Hey, what's good? Hey, what's good with you? Thanks for taking the call. I missed the early part of the show, so I don't know if you were necessarily discussing tape from the game on Sunday, but I wanted, I guess, just to kind of give you my quick thoughts, and I'll just ask you a question. I was a little disappointed with the game planning as far as what did we want to do, because 100%. You knew going into the game, I'm sure you knew, that Lovie Smith was going to run a lot of cover 2 and a lot of shell coverage.
Yes.
You're going to get a lot of coverage looks. And so if you know that going into the game, shouldn't the game plan be to be run heavy, run centric, even with maybe, I don't know, 21 personnel, more 12 personnel, less wide receivers? Yes. Because I'm not interested in. Yeah, go ahead.
Glenn, why do you, I'm not saying this at you, Glenn, but them, why do you think they were last in the NFL in rushing yards? Because they play that damn Tampa 2 and they keep their safeties back and they're light in the box and teams just run it down their throats. Dallas, and we'll get to it in Sky Optics, Dallas decided to get real cute in that second quarter, and it kept the game closer, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. And so my point is, and I don't know what the stats, that was going to be my question. How many rushing yards did we have? Because I'm willing to bet that we probably left at least 60, 75 yards on the field. And if that's the case, we should be disturbed, because that is a trend that will get us beat in the playoffs. And I just hope, and I don't know if this conversation goes on, but you look at Dan Quinn, who's a defensive, he's a defensive guru. I wonder if he looks over at Kellen Moore and says, they're just running shell coverage, right? You know how to beat that, right? And I just want to wonder,
he can't look over him because he ain't in the goddamn box. He needs to be in the box. both boxes. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. And so I'll just kind of leave with this. I just it's a head scratcher to me, because it's almost like Kellen is trying to prove that he's smarter than everyone else. You're not smarter than Lovie Smith when it comes to cover 2 and shell coverage. His game plan was to make us try and either stay patient with the running game, which he kind of knew Kellen would not, and he was right. And those tip passes were not by accident. That defense is designed to get deep drops by those linebackers to tip passes. So we're going to see that test again. Yeah, we're going to see that test again. We know what exams are coming up. And so how do you prepare for it? Well, if you want to get them out of that shell cover 2 coverage, you run the ball and you show heavy run packages, and then you play action, and then you'll hit your deep passes off of that. So I was just frustrated, because this is the kind of thing that will get us beat. And if that happens again, Kellen Moore is out, because it's clear that that's the only thing that can beat Dallas is our own impatience and not sticking with the fundamentals, which is when you see that coverage, run the ball and show heavy run, and then play action off of that. With that, I'll let you go.
AKA,
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Do what you do best. For whatever reason, man, when we see that, this coordinator gets a little wide-eyed here. Just do what you do best, man. That should have been game plan. Dak talked about it, and we'll get to it in a second. But before I get to that, hey, I mean, kind of knew this already, but Jonathan Gelkin, which, by the way of Jerry Jones, Cowboys nose tackle Jonathan Hankins is out for the remainder of the regular season. This is from Jerry. You can see Jonathan back for the playoffs. He won't be back before then with the pectoral strain. So I'm hoping this is just like a 4-week situation and they can get him back, because I hate to keep on bringing up this other team. The other team pretty much took up the other guys that are on. I don't know who else is out there, but I'd imagine if Jonathan Hankins had got hurt and those Linval Josephs and Ndamukong Suhs were still available, if it's one thing I can say, with a little bit of confidence this year is that Dallas would have reached out. Problem is, we're so goddamn, somebody said at the beginning of this, so goddamn reactive as opposed to proactive. It became too late. Philly said, wait, what? Y'all ran it 57 million times on me? No. We're not going to get one. We're going to get two. Two veteran defensive tackles, and we'll figure this thing out. So now I would imagine Dallas is going to have to make some type of move. So you'll get Hankins on the IR. You'll get Steele on the IR. TY will take one of those spots. They got to go out there and grab another defense. I don't know who's available. Y'all want to name names. Y'all can name names. But I don't think you can go into this thing and be like, up, we're good. Bo Hanna, Carlos Watkins, Osa and Neville. Nah, I don't think that's the case. I think you need to go out there and get another big. I don't care if the big body's just a 365-pound sweat and grease dude to sit in the middle of the defense and not get moved. I don't care. Jonathan Hankins is a big loss. Big loss. So go sign somebody. With that said, perfect call because it segues perfectly into my Sky Optics, my Week 14 offensive observations. And a lot of what he said is some of the things I'm going to say here. I had 2021 flashbacks. And what do I mean by 2021 flashbacks? You saw the team, and this kind of was like week one, revert to a whole lot of zone coverage. And their zone coverage was a lot of, hey, we're going to take away your underneath stuff. Even when you come out and run package, I mean, it was very eerie of 2021 in week one. Even when you come out and your two tight end sets, we not respecting your run game because you weren't doing anything creative with it. You were play actioning and you were sending 2v7. Now, I did work one of those times, I think the third scoring drive for the Cowboys. You had a deep ball completion to Michael Gallup on a deep comeback. But there was no creativity in that run game whatsoever. And I just don't understand that. Going into this game, you had to look at this team and say they are light in the ass. They play a whole lot of too high safety looks, so that means they're going to be light in the box. They don't have interior guys that are great, although Malik Collins, who's not a run guy, was giving your center and your left guard problems. But that don't mean you stop. That don't mean you just abandon your creativity from a run game standpoint. There was none. There was absolutely none. That's why it reminded me of 2021. These guys are just lining up and just running. They were just thinking, we just gonna put a hat on a hat and be cool. No, what makes your run game so good is that you're able to be creative out of it. You're able to attack the edges. You're able to get jet sweeps. You're able to get a pitch to Tony Pollard and he could take it to the crib. Outside of that first drive, it dried up from the run game standpoint, from a production and from a scheme standpoint. And another reason why I got 2021 flashbacks is because when you were being very basic in your run game, you weren't winning. And that worried me. You were putting yourself, I tweeted it, I said, Cowboys they're failing on early downs and putting themselves in way too many third and longs. And then we get upset when we're not converting a third and they were converting. But when you get put in third and 13s, third and 12s, third and 9s, you can't do that against better teams. It just was San Fran all over again. Tampa Bay all over again. New Orleans all over again. And then you compound that with the lack of pre-snap motion or conflict. When I say conflict lacking, y'all know what I'm talking about. We didn't really start running mesh stuff until we got to the red zone at the end of the game. We really weren't putting the pressure on these corners and these safeties with conflict, or these linebackers with conflict. But if you go look at the opening series, CeeDee Lamb's biggest catch of the game came from what? Conflict. They dropped back in that shell, but they ran a mesh concept. They sent CeeDee Lamb underneath, Dalton Schultz right over top of him, and you had the linebacker hold for just 1 second. And when you have him hold for just that 1 second, it creates enough of a lane. It creates enough of a yak ability, opportunity for CeeDee Lamb. Dump it off to CeeDee Lamb underneath. He gets like 15 yards or whatever it was. I didn't see CeeDee Lamb do that often in that game after that. And I don't get it. So he was in a pre-snap motion and they created conflict all one play. It was strange. And then the disguise coverages worked. Dak Prescott actually talked about it, but this again looked more like the version of the Arizona Cardinals game with a lot less blitzing. But Arizona did a whole lot of disguising against Dak and Kellen in last year towards the end of the season, and it confused them. And that's what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to give you one look and then post-snap give you another look, and now I got to hold the ball a little extra longer because I can't go to where I wanted to go because there's a different look. Now I got to see what else is happening. And as we've said plenty of times here, as Kurt Warner has said, as Jesse has said, we don't run concepts to beat the zone a lot here. We run a ton of man stuff. Oh, by the way, not just people that are on the team. Amari Cooper said it. Amari Cooper said, hey, we got cover 2 beaters. We just, for whatever damn reason, choose to not run them. Now, once we get into the film, you'll see some of the stuff. Against cover 2, the throw that is often talked about is that honey hole shot or that turkey hole shot. And it looks like an easy throw. Cowboys Nation is not. And while there was some hits on that throughout the game, there were also some misses. And when I mean misses, I mean didn't even look that way. Teams will welcome you to attempt that all game long. So you need to conceptually combat that. You need to run more maybe dagger routes to put pressure on that safety to make a decision or flood the area a little bit more. And not just these floods where it's shallow floods, because they ran some shallow floods in that game. And it was like, well, you sent 4 people over there into a group of 5, but they're all 10 yards and in. Like, there was just no creativity, hell, in the passing game against this zone. It was, like I said, it was frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to watch. From a schematic standpoint, from a quarterbacking standpoint, they got their hands on the ball 11 times out of 15 in completion standpoint. You pretty much welcomed all those tip passes. How many times I saw a run 7 yards and turn around, run 5 yards and turn around? Everybody was doing it. That's the stuff. That's what I mean by, hey, somebody got to get over there and say, listen, dog, this ain't working. Let them run all that, but let me run a stop and go. Let me run a slug go. Let me put some pressure on this corner and safety to think, and then maybe you run Dalton Schultz behind me. They weren't doing enough of that. So that was my sky optics from that game. All of it were things that were concerning. Usually I mix in some other things, but there were really only 2 drives that mattered. And we're going to actually show the film on that final drive and why things were different from what I saw from the rest of the game. So I know yesterday I came on here and I was like, hey, not everybody, but a lot of people want you to kind of be like, oh, Sky, we won. You're right, we did. The reason why I'm like, man, the hell is going on is because this was literally the blueprint, right? This was literally the Achilles heel, the kryptonite, or whatever you want to call it. They ran it to the T with a very porous defense. Let me just say that for a second. It ain't like they got a bunch of dudes over there. Imagine you go up against another team that's willing to do that with dudes. We saw that in week 1. Got to find the answer. And if the answer is as simple as run the ball, then we got to have that game plan going into it, right? We got to have that creative. We got to come in there and say, we're going to run it, but we're going to run it this way. We're not going to just run it up the A-gap. We're not just going to line up 2 tight ends, no motion, no pulls, no nothing, and just run it. And if you're having trouble with a certain guy, all right, we're going to double this dude. But I digress. They better figure it out. And I'm glad, like I said, you got 4 weeks now with some talented teams, defenses that are not porous. Philly, great defense. Washington, we already saw how tough it is to run on them. Jacksonville got some dudes, but it's not really a great defense, but I don't think it's a pushover. And then Titans. I mean, the Titans were one of the better run defenses in the league anyway, but they're very bad against the pass. But it might not matter if they just drop back in zone, right? So pressure's on. You got some good teams. Let's figure it out. We'll get a call because this is platinum. This is a platinum caller here. Priority caller here. Uncle Charles. Good morning, Uncle Charles. Good to hear from you.
Morning, young brother.
How you doing, Uncle Charles?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you a question.
All right.
And good to the Cowboy brothers and sisters. Hey, it's a good day to be up, man. Let me just say this, man. Let me ask you something, Scott. And I want you to give me your honest opinion because this has been bothering me. It's been bothering me to the point where I'm not resting real good. Let me ask you this. Do you think when Dak throw an interception, when he make a play like he made in that Houston Texas game, do you think it's got to do with more with him or the position that Kellen Moore put him in?
Both, right? I mean, and when we're done on the phone, I'll play the audio for you. He even talked about, hey, I can't throw it in that tight window. But the problem is, like you said, he's being put in positions to have to throw in tight windows because the scheme is not designing guys to get open that way, and B, his receivers aren't creating a ton of separation. So it's either I make this tight window throw or I don't. So he has to pick and choose the times to do it.
Okay, now to me, Sky, and we're talking on a real technical level here. I think for me with Dak, I think it's a sun saying that at some point you got to put your team on your back. But I believe that you necessarily don't have to do that all the time. He got the parts around him. I think that for me, just for me, Scott, I think he tried to try harder than what he's trying. Hey, man, relax. Let the players make the plays and manage the team the way it's supposed to be managed. And another thing, too, you got 9 interceptions. And that comes to them same thing you've been saying, throwing the ball when he's unsure of the play. Now, I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
What do you think about what I'm saying? Do you think he's trying too hard?
I don't believe in trying too hard. What do you mean? Like, are you trying to say he's pressing?
Pressing, yes, sir.
No, I don't think Dak is pressing. I think he's just trying to get the guys the balls, and he needs to stop throwing to guys that are in tight windows or trusting it. A lot of these interceptions are about trust at the beginning of this interception spree, right? I mean, like the first 5 interceptions or what have you were about, hey, I'm trusting my guy to be in the spot. The last few have been, hey, this guy's one-on-one, I'm going to throw it up and give him a chance here, and the ball's tipped or something like that, or I'm throwing it to a tight window. So I don't think he's pressing. I think he's just, this is what I have to do because nobody's open.
You got that right. And I think in the playoffs, he might have to run the ball. I believe that they're going to have to go get another defensive tackle. Trust me, it's always somebody out there. It's like this guy. They can go out there and get a defensive tackle. Just when you think everybody's asleep, somebody's up. So you can go get a defensive tackle. So all that stuff don't make no difference. Let me just say this in closing. You know what, Sky? When I see you, I see a young cat that does really good content, and you're one of the best out here. And the most important thing I see about you is that you're living in your purpose. See, a lot of people don't live in their purpose. They just live to exist. And see, I couldn't figure that out some years ago because I stayed in and out of jail. I started a ride in 1992, and they threw me in jail. And, I was doing little stuff around the city I should have been doing, like letting the air out of police car. And I thought it was funny, but he didn't, and he threw me in that jail cell. But what really changed my life is when they put me in that jail cell and they put that one dude in there with me. And he don't just got through whooping 5 police officers, and he wasn't finna forget about me. But the troublesome question is when I saw the judge. He said, Mr. Mabry, you in here again. Every time I see you, every time something goes down, I see you. I said, well, Your Honor, I hope there ain't no problem. He said, I don't come to conclusion about you. If you come back in here again, I'm going to lock you up for 2 years. And then my daughter was born. And, man, I'm living in my purpose. So this is what I want you to do, Sky. When you start going further in life, some people you're going to have to cut off. Some of your friends, some of your family members. Because at this point, it's like Tupac. It's all about you. So don't worry about it, young bro. When things don't go right, you live in your purpose. Because I'm going to tell you something. I want everybody to know, ain't nobody going to come save you. You need to save your damn self. And that's all I got to say, player. Appreciate you.
Appreciate the life lesson there, huh? All right. Yeah. You know, I think Emmett might have said this saying before. I think it might have been Emmett. Something along the lines, paraphrasing here. You know, the further you get, everybody can't come with you. And I think that came up around the Mike Vick situation. And I'm like, that's true. Everybody can come with you on your journey, man. Some things you do gotta leave back. So I guess kind of what he was saying there. I don't know where it came from, but appreciate the life lessons here. But let me get back to let's listen to Dak Prescott actually talk about the situation in regards to that game, the coverages and the play calling and whatnot.
What were they doing though in the first 58? I mean, Mike and Jerry said they were showing you coverage and doing things they hadn't done before, Joe hadn't seen before, and Mike said that it's something the other teams may copy.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit of we know that they had a decent disguise and coming into the game, but however, they're going to get to a couple of coverages. I feel like they added a couple of more tonight. And just, yeah, when you do that and against and you haven't shown that on film, gives you a heads up there. So whether it be the play calling that maybe wasn't the best at the time, my reads were half a bit slower because they disguised it well and got to some that they haven't been in. But for us, it's about understanding that, yeah, we may get that more, as Coach said, and just understanding that we've got to execute. Or sometimes I got to not try to fit the ball in tight windows and create those tip passes and too many balls up in the air, and that's what they want. So I just can't give them that opportunity.
Can't give them that opportunity. I think he said something along the lines of, yeah, you know, they show us what they're going to do, and then the play calling. It was a whole bunch there. I won't say it was a compliment sandwich, but it was the opposite, right? He started off with, yeah, play calling, but I can't do it as well. I mean, I don't want nobody to take this sound bite and run with it. I don't want anybody to take this sound bite and run with it. But I don't know what he meant by it, but I'll speak up for him. Somebody said it in the chat here, you know, Kellen's not helping. I've been saying this forever, though. This scheme is not quarterback friendly. And that's not just me saying this. I told y'all, I spoke with Will Greer and asked Will Greer about this. I specifically asked him, you know, how easy is this scheme for quarterbacks? How difficult is this scheme for quarterbacks? It's very hard. He said, that's why I'm glad we got a guy like Dak Prescott in this room. And you might say, well, it doesn't matter, money and all that. That's fine. You know, I don't really care about that. But I think I was talking to my brother yesterday, and I said, when you're talking to these other teams, these other quarterbacks that are playing at a high level, you're questioning Andy Reid, questioning Zach Taylor, you're questioning Mike McDaniels, or you're questioning Nick Sirianni's in offense, or you know what I mean? You're questioning Brian Daboll from last year. Now I get it, you got to have good quarterbacks to go with it, but what do all these guys have in common? They make the game easier for their Q. Let's bring this all around. One of the very first things I said on the heels of the beginning of the season, we were having the floor conversation. I said, at the end of the day, you're going to have to overcome the guy on the sideline. Fair or not, nobody cares. Nobody's going to want to hear it. You're going to have to overcome that. For the most part, he has. There's no coincidence. This offense is what it is since he's returned. If you want to, and I'm not saying there's no knock on Cooper Rush, but if you want to see the difference, just go look at the first 6 weeks. Go look at now. He is the difference. He is a difference. But is he enough of a difference when it comes down to playing these opponents in the playoffs? that got a beat on what you're doing? That's the question. That's going to be the question that only he can answer in the playoffs. So be nice if we can get a little bit of help. And it'd be nice. And it's a tough situation, man. If he becomes more conservative in his play, and what I mean by conservative, we're talking about what y'all don't like him to do. Pat, 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 look for the ball, take a sack. Now, we're going to see a play in here, in the film room here in a second, where I would like to see him more say, man, screw this. It ain't their run. But that will only put a Band-Aid on what is an issue from a concept, or from a scheme, whatever you want to call it. That only put a Band-Aid on it. But it also gives a risk of him getting hurt, which is probably why he doesn't want to run. But I'm telling you, man, if this team doesn't pack up what they do well week to week and just do that and then adapt from that, if you get met with some adversity, if you get met with a team adapting to you, they get too cute. They get too arrogant. They get their egos start to show. Oh, we can just do whatever. No, do what you do best. I don't know. Do you see Miami out here? Do you see San Fran out here? Do you see Kansas City, all these other Philly? They don't give a damn. They do what they do best. And if you end up combating by it, then they'll adapt. Make it hard, man. I digress. Don't make it so hard. All right. Let's get the Dubai Sky. Our lab segment, Tape Tuesday, brought to you by Boston Scientific. More than 39 million men in the U.S. suffer from ED. Boston Scientific created edcure.org to help you find your best cure. To get started, go to edcure.org, take the quiz, and learn your severity or risk of ED. If you got a condition that puts you at a higher risk, you'll find customized content. Fastest way to find your best cure is to contact an ED specialist by browsing the list of experienced physicians in your area. edcure.org, brought to you by Boston Scientific. It ain't hard, but you can be.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
That is an interesting point, and you're probably right, Swain. Swain said, we have not played the same formula against any team twice in a row. I joked about it yesterday with Vosh, but it does seem like that worked this game. It completely goes away from it the next game. Why? I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, yo. My bad. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. All right, here we go. Good timing right now. Let's head on over into the lab and get started reviewing this game-winning drive, Cowboys Nation. We're not starting there. We're starting here. Now, we know how bad it was leading up, but when you get 3:20 on the clock, you're down 3, you got a chance to go get the game. In my head, I'm sitting here saying, all right, look, this ain't the game I wanted to see it happen, but damn it, it needed to happen at some point. Go win it. And this is how we come out. 3-by-2 set. We're going to get a mirror route on both sides, meaning both of these outside wide receivers are going to run comebacks. You're going to get Dalton Schultz on the seam, and you're going to get Noah Brown on the seam. Now, before you start pulling your hair out, let's just let the play run, then we go run it back because this game could have been over on the first play. What I like is that Dalton Schultz and Dak weren't connecting greatly in this game, but Dak can give a damn. So I'm going right back to my guy. But peep Noah Brown, bruh. This is what I mean by, well, Sky, why didn't he go Noah Brown? Because he's Noah Brown. If this happened to be a TY Hilton, if this happened to be a CeeDee Lamb, Game might have been over right here. And he beats my man off the line of scrimmage. That's ball game. If he just looks him off, that's a 98-yard touchdown for the most part. But still, you also had Dalton Schultz wide open. But look at Kirksey all damn game, bro. I feel like they practiced. I feel like there was like, yo, just drop back and jump. Nonetheless, way to start off the drive. Big completion. And they keep it moving. We're going to take a look at it again from a pass protection standpoint. Now, listen, we praised Jason Peters for this drive, and as we should. But this one almost got ugly right off the bat. Jason Peters initially is a win, but then he loses right there. And boy, this could have got ugly. But it didn't. Next play. This is where I talked about with those floods that was kind of annoying me here. You're going to get a flood left. And I have 88-7 route because I believe this was a route that they should have ran instead of the one they did run. Nonetheless, nothing there. Take off more. They're going to get a whole lot of bodies in this area. I want to say, I always get these guys mixed up, but he's going to come here. He's going to come up here and go out. You're going to get him come out in the fast. You're going to get a whole lot of bodies here. And I want to say he's going to hit this seam. So they're going to flood this left side of the field and they're going to leave one-on-one. This is what I mean earlier when I said, we don't really care about looking at Michael Gallup's way. Now, this ain't obviously his play, but nonetheless, let's let the play run here. This is not advantageous for you here. I don't like the spacing. I don't understand this. Dalton Schultz is supposed to threaten both of these guys. This is good coverage. This is how you play this zone. I think sending CD Lamb, this is for what? For why? What are we doing? I would much rather CD Lamb have done something like this, because now we're going to put this safety in a bind and this corner in a bind. They're going to have to pick and choose, and maybe then you send him up here up the seam. I just, these concepts to me just weird, but nothing was there. Dak Prescott did something I would like for him to do more when nothing is there. Take the hell off. That's the difference between the more mature Dak and the young Dak. Here we go. I was talking about this earlier in regards to that turkey hole shot or that honey hole shot, depending on what you want to call it. I say 85 corner look because he's going to run kind of a corner out here. Boom. And he's going to get open. But this is one of those shots they want you to take, because if you don't hit it right, we get an interception or we'll knock the ball out. But let's take a look at it. He doesn't elect to take it. There's a shot right there. Doesn't elect to take it, and the ball's already out. He takes the underneath. But if we go back, I think you'll see Dak Prescott realize, okay, that is there. So let's come right back to it. This is literally the same exact play, same formation. You're going to get 21 coming underneath. You're going to get their route combination, and their route combination is the same. This time he elected to go to it right away. Ball's out. Before his head is completely turned, ball's out. And this was a fantastic throw and an amazing catch. And even better when you look at it from the other angle, man. This really is Dak and probably Noah Brown saying, hey, I got you, bro. I saw him a couple plays ago. We're going to come right back to it. And if that corner plays it the same way, I got you. And from this angle, the throw is just, I mean, you can't ask for a better one. And then Jalen Petrie was putting hits all game. And then Noah Brown just comes down with it, man. Absolute fantastic catch here. As we're getting closer, you got this 3x2 and a double slant. What do you mean by 3x2? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 here. Double slant is going to come from these two guys. They're going to run right behind each other. Well, he's going to run right behind him. And you want to get 86 up the seam. This double slant is designed to fool this guy. You want to get this linebacker to come up and play. I think this is CD Lamb. You want to get him to come up and play that so you can get an easy shot right above him. But I'm telling you, they watch the film. They know how to play their zone, and it doesn't fool the linebacker whatsoever. So we'll let the play run. Just keep your eye on the linebacker. He's not fooled at all. And my goodness, once again, Kirksey all day was just jumping and trying to get his hands on the ball. 86 makes up before the drop. Now we're going to take another look at this angle here. Keep your eye on the linebacker. I mean, this is just good. This is good disciplined coverage by the linebacker. Whew. And what I like about this throw is you have to throw this ball in a point where you can't lead him. That's clear. A lot of people say throwing behind the receiver. Sometimes you got to. If you lead him, he gets his clock clean. This has to be high and on the back shoulder, and you have to make him jump so he can protect himself. And that's exactly what he did. Catch, hit, amazing catch, and able to deal with the contact by Dalton Schultz there. All right, 21's going to get one-on-one. Petrie, who was just all over the damn place in this game, man. They played some good defense in this game, and Jalen Petrie was the defensive MVP. Saves the touchdown here, but look at this combo blocked by Connor McGovern. We got to get Connor McGovern some love here. Also, Tyler Smith is Tyler Smith, but take a look at this combo block. We're going to help. Then we'll get to the second level, seals them off, but Jalen Petrie, this is a touchdown probably with prime Zeke. But hell of a play by Jalen Petrie to save that. But look at your boy. I don't know if there's a better fighter than Tyler Smith right now on this line. That's okay. We'll come back to it. 21 personnel. Here's the mesh concept I was talking about. And it didn't necessarily get them here, but it all kind of did. I mean, Dak Prescott eventually got back to a Michael Gallup here, but there's the mesh, and watch what it does to these three guys. 1, 2, 3 on 1. This is why you run mesh. Now, the problem is, let's run it back. And this is not really a problem, it's a design. Because he's not coming out to the flat, and you already got a guy out in the flat, you're not really getting this linebacker to commit. So he's just staying back and playing in his hole here. So he steps back. So he takes away that initially, but this is where I think nobody on the team is better than Michael Gallup in the red zone in regards to excuse me, keeping the play alive. Boy, I thought that was DJ Swearinger, though. I mean, this is a ridiculous hit. But this is how you keep the play alive. Dak finds him. I thought the game was over right here. Unbelievable hit. If you don't know who DJ Swearinger is, just look him up. Just look him up. And this was the game-winning play. I have here lesson learned, spread them out, and run. Well, why you say lesson learned, Sky? Earlier in the game, in the third quarter, you get down here at the 1 or 2 yard line, and they elected to do a tight concept, bringing 10, 11 men in the box, and they got stuffed. This time, we're going to spread them out. We're going to keep a lighter box, light for goal line purposes. What happens? Zeke does what Zeke does. If you present a light box in the goal line, you are going to get a touchdown by Ezekiel Elliott. 73 said, follow me. I want you to watch him in this play. Is this technically sound? Probably not. He just put his head down and said, I'm going to move my man. And then 21 knows how to find the end zone. You'll see him get skinny. You'll see him find the nose for the end zone. But Tyler Smith here just completely just get out my way. And watch how he gets up here. And when that happens, you get a Landry shift, and we get the black flippity flip by Kevontae Turpin. The reason why this looked completely different, in my opinion, from what you saw throughout the game is because you couldn't, from a Texan standpoint, afford to do a whole bunch of disguises. And we heard what the coach said over there, Lovie Smith. We showed a few different looks, but they couldn't show the disguised looks because they had to play prevent. I hate to say it, but they had to do that. And when you're playing in a hurry-up offense, that makes it a lot easier because you can't say, hey, I'm going to show this and go here because I got to show what I'm going to be in right now because they're going to snap the ball quicker than not. So kudos to them for getting it done at the end of that game. You want to see them, though, execute more earlier in the games, Cowboys Nation. So that was today's lab assignment. They did finish the fight. They needed to do that. And hopefully that momentum can carry over throughout the rest of the season. I'm still on the side of, I'm not saying I want to see them play bad, but I'm still on the side of I would love to see a tough, tightly contested game against a quality opponent and you still finish it that way, finish it in that manner. That will give me a lot of confidence as I got Mozart coming in here. It must be raining and thunderstorming out there. That's the only time he gets scared and comes into the lab. So let's get to another caller and we'll get to the chat and we'll get up out of here. I think we got some super chats as well. Yeah, it must be thundering out there. I think this is Miss Queen.
Hello, how are you?
Indeed it is. What's good, Miss Queen? How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I have two things that I want to talk about. The first one is Kellen Moore, and everyone knows that that's a constant topic, conversation, debate, and argument. So I wanted to go ahead and get him out of the way. I kind of feel like Kellen Moore is in somebody's bag. You know what I mean?
Say again?
Trying to fill up his... I said, you can't hear me?
No, I didn't hear what you said. I heard you, but I don't know what you said.
I said I got a feeling that Kellen Moore is in somebody's bag.
Oh, okay.
You know, or filling up his bag by somebody else. And the reason why I say that is because ain't no way in hell. Why would you play a game like we played last week and then turn around the next week and play a totally different game? You know, what is he, bipolar? I don't get it.
That's how it feels. You know, it's a bipolar game plan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so serious. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, I'm done with that because hopefully you have something to say about that, you know, when I get off the phone. But the next one is, you know, I love Dan Quinn. But
the conference has been locked.
That he's using Michael Parsons right now. I really am. I mean, it's like he's stunting his growth or his greatness. And that's a problem for me. I'm used to, you know, Michael Parsons out there getting it, making plays, you know, bringing all the excitement into the game from the defense. And now, a lot of times it's just boring to me. So, you know, that's all I have to say.
Something to it.
Huh?
There is something to it.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's all I got to say. I just wanted to hear what you had to say about that when I get off the phone.
I got you, Ms.
Sky.
Queen. Thank you. I will say this. And I'm not going to say too much. But there is something to that. I don't really know how I can say this without saying too much. I just leave it at that. There is something to the way Micah is being used. And it is a coaching decision. That's all. So I saw a comment up in here that said, what'd you say, Glenn? Just say, I gotta find it. Something along the lines of just say it. Say he missed the read instead of saying it's Noah Brown. No, this is what I'm trying to tell you. The reason why he's not looking over there at Noah Brown's way, and that's a joke, is because it's Noah Brown. In that time. Seriously, had that been Dalton Schultz or had that been CeeDee Lamb, who are you looking at first in those moments? CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz. You're looking at CeeDee Lamb or Noah Brown or Dalton Schultz. He didn't miss the read because he didn't go to the read. It's mirror routes. Mirror routes mean you got to pick the side. And if I'm coming to the line of scrimmage and I'm picking the side, I'm probably going to go to the guy that I believe in most because that's the guy I've been believing in for 2-3 years or whatever, and it's Dalton Schultz. Missing the read would be I'm looking at Noah Brown, he breaks open, and I just completely come to the other side. That's not what happened in that case. I think had he decided coming to the line of scrimmage, hey, I'm going to Noah Brown, then he would have hit Noah Brown because it's a mirror route. But it's Noah Brown. That's the whole point of what I was saying weeks ago. Is that he's not that guy, pal. He's not that guy. You know, and he made some big catches. There's no knock on Noah. But in those moments, That's not what he's doing. Now, what happened when they showed that same coverage and he missed Noah Brown on that honey hole shot? He came right back to it and said, okay, this route against this coverage is there. Now I'm going back to it. And he hit him. So that's what I mean. It's not about missing him because he didn't even get there. You want to talk about missing? There were some other misses throughout that game because he elected to look this side and maybe stay this side as opposed to trying to hit the honey hole shot, which he threw those. He attempted a couple of them in that game and got some of his receivers. Their bells rung. You know, I think Michael Gallup got hit and caught one. I think another one was incomplete pass from a hit. They were hitting, dude. They were just hitting from that. But that's what the team wants you to do. We want you to attempt that shot all game because you know you're not going to hit it all game. Either you're going to underthrow it one of these times, overthrow it, or I'm going to ring their bell. You might hit it a few times, but that'll be a 15-yard game, 20-yard game, and we'll live with it. The matriculation down the field, we'll live with it. They made them matriculate down that field in that 98-yard drive. So that's what I mean. In regards to Micah Parsons, Mike is fine. I thought he was hurt. He's not hurt. He's not hurt. I'll leave it at that. Now you want to argue about him not being a great quarterback. That's fine, Iceberg Slim, but that is completely false. This is what I understand. I don't know how you guys are watching the film and this is what you're saying. He said he's not scanning the field fast enough to find guys. Brother, that is completely false. The problem is sometimes he scans the field too fast. That was the whole deal. The whole ordeal of last year was he's going through his reads too fast. I don't get this he can't get through progress. He progresses. That is, how do you watch him literally go boom, 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 check down and say he's not progressing? Sometimes he progresses too fast. The issues with Dak have nothing to do with progression. That's not his problem. I digress. I just feel like, again, I'm going to say it. I say it all the time. Y'all just be coming on here saying things, man. Y'all just be saying things. 601, what it is, what it do?
What's up, Scott? It's Reggie.
What's good, Reggie?
Nothing much, man. I just want to say, first of all, man, love what you and Voch, man, y'all doing. Keep up the good work, man. And, hey, I love Tape Tuesday, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother.
All right. One thing I got to say, man, I think sometimes that the Cowboys, they get arrogant in their play calling, man. I think that's one of their issues because you show, like, the first – when they blocked, well, the first time they got down to the goal line and they had it tight, the tight end, everybody was in, they figured, hey, we just going to run it up and we gonna score anyhow. But the last time when they made the touchdown to go up ahead, they spread them out, and then that's when Zeke took off and he scored a touchdown. So I think one of their biggest problems, they get too arrogant with lesser teams.
And I'll combat it. I think you can even say maybe arrogant with their game planning, right?
Yeah.
They had the audacity to think after the first 15, this is what's going to work against this zone defense, and that's just not the case. And normally we would see them come out in the second half and adapt, right? That's kind of what they did throughout the last few weeks, but that really wasn't the case in this game.
Right. But, man, that's all I got, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. You keep us sane on these streets, man. Hey, keep up the good work, brother.
Yep. Appreciate you, man. It's not a secret. I money bags. I'm not at liberty to say certain things. Listen, man, when you're doing what I'm doing, you got to protect your sources. I love y'all to death, but I'm not about to. No. Listen, what Queen was saying, there's something to it. The way they're utilizing Micah Parsons is not how they utilized Micah Parsons in the past. And I'm pretty sure y'all see that, right? Pretty sure y'all see that. But I can tell you guys without burning my source that Micah Parsons is not hurt. So one more here. 443. What it is, what it do? You are live.
Hey, how you doing?
There we go. What's up, man?
Hey, I think Kellen Moore is living vicariously through Dak Prescott, and that's why he's so adamant and trying to keep passing that ball. I mean, you got to think it's a weird dynamic that basically Dak sent him to coaching.
I never thought of it that way. I never said it that way, but it's very true. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, it's a very weird dynamic that they have. You know, I mean, they were teammates competing for second string. Dak gets elevated to first string after Kellen and Romo get hurt, and the guy that he's better than is his coach.
Yeah, I mean,
he's in the coach's eye.
Put it on a loop.
It's a weird.
Put it on a loop. There's no OC quarterback dynamic like this, and I don't say that in a positive light. I say that in I don't think there's an OC quarterback combination where you were my backup 3 years ago. Like there's nothing like that. And then you went right into coaching, and now you're my offensive coordinator. So the coaching aspect, I highly doubt that Kellen is coaching Dak Prescott. So that I don't know how much of an issue that may be. We brought this up plenty of times. I don't mean to be put this on the loop, but I think John Kitna and guys like Mark Sanchez would have had more of an impact than a Kellen Moore from a coaching standpoint. From an X's and O's standpoint, from a passing game standpoint, yeah, it's helped open up the passing game numbers and Dak as a passer. But from a quarterback standpoint, I don't have any inside information on this, but just my belief that I don't think he's helping him from that manner. No.
I don't either. And then one last thing, and I love the show, brother, is, you know, Jerry Jones, you know, he's handcuffed his head coaches, most recently Mike McCarthy, by grandfathering in that you have to take Kellen Moore as your OC. And the only people that are in love with Kellen Moore are the Dallas Cowboys. Because if he was this new, you know, the next shiny new toy, he'd have been snatched up when he went on those other interviews, and he hasn't been.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. And again, to play devil's advocate, they're right and wrong at the same time. They're right because, oh yeah, the Cowboys offense, look at it. You know, it looks great, right? I don't want to say they're wrong, but they can't ignore that how teams play the Cowboys when they decide to play them that way gives this specific coordinator and quarterback combination problems, right? And can we argue that there hasn't been a solution to it? So yeah, we're going to continue. We'll probably put up some still good numbers. 27 points. They scored 27 points. That's still good. We're 400 yards, and we're still going to put up good numbers. But that trust issue we all have with this combination, Dak Prescott, Kellen Moore, is when it's time to nut up against these better teams in the playoffs, and they have your number, can you overcome that? You can blindly look at it and say, yes, I'm going to say, prove it to me.
And the dynamic is that Jerry Jones put in place is how much power does the head coach actually have over telling his OC what to do?
You
know, because
would you say that there's been a little bit more of Mike McCarthy having some power in that way? Because again, I'll say this: a lot of things can both be said here. I do think Mike McCarthy got a little bit of power back because look at the balance dynamic. Now that game looked like it was unbalanced, but it really wasn't. You had to throw at the end of the game, and they did run the ball like 11 straight times, so it maybe did get a little unbalanced in that second quarter. Nonetheless, for majority of this season, Kellen Moore has stuck to that balance approach. Now, has he glitched here and there? Sure, he has. But there was times last year where that balance was thrown out the window, right? We just knew, we're going to abandon that run. So I do think McCarthy has a little bit more say this year. But I don't know if McCarthy – I don't know if McCarthy has the answer to the blueprint. I don't know if he has that answer.
Yeah, that's the problem. A little bit more control. Yeah. So, like, Kellen Moore operates out of like a passive-aggressive behavior. So you mentioned yesterday the overcorrection.
What weapons, man? You just be saying stuff. Not you.
I'm just gonna go and do, 7 straight run plays, right? You want me to run the ball? I'm just gonna do 7 run plays in a row, and then do the dumbest formation on 4th and goal. But you want me to run the ball, right? There, I had no problem with the 4th down run, but the formation was ridiculous, on that. And so how much influence does the head coach say, hey, look, play action here, right? On one of these 7 drives that we're doing here. Or, Kellen, just go ahead and do your thing. Let's just hope that the players can execute properly, right? And so the fact that our head coach still doesn't really hold that complete seat of head coach, it's like we got 3 assistant coaches.
Oh, you being a weirdo. Not you. But all right, man. Appreciate the call, good brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
Give Romo these weapons. He's in the MVP conference. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Tony Romo played already, bro. He had a ton of weapons. It was in the MVP consideration one time, and that was when the damn team ran for 2,000 and 50,000 million yards. What are we doing? Are you coming out the closet here, Iceberg Q? What are we doing, man? Give him Noah Brown and Michael Gallup on one leg. He's MVP with Kellen freaking Moore. Yeah, you coming out the closet. Come on with it. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. You want to be honest. There are 2 weapons the Cowboys have on this team. Is Tony Pollard and CD Lamb. You saying he don't know how to use it? Is Dak Prescott supposed to come up with the game plan? You want to say he's missing guys. You want to say he's inaccurate. That's fine. But using the weapons, that is your coach's. That's what your coach is supposed to do. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? Oh, not Iceberg Q. My bad. I'm sitting here coming at Iceberg Q. Who's just 2 icebergs? I know Iceberg Q. Like, what I do? Whoever this other iceberg imposter is, that's who I'm talking to. We're not gonna make this about you, man. Let's move on here. One of the big. You damn right, Reggie. And I don't want to bring in Romo to this. This is not a Romo bashing situation here. But let's get to these super chats.
Super chat.
Toxic Tom, who keeps changing the first name here, says, oh gosh, you're talking about Vach's show. Make a wish, Timmy. Don't want Brown. Where Lamb at?
Super chat.
Iceberg Q, the real Iceberg Q. Can we get more routes towards the sidelines and not towards the middle of the field? Too much margin of error to take some deep shots. Let me say this, Iceberg Q. They have stopped those option routes in the middle, so I will give them that. What I would like to see them do, and maybe this is what TY Hilton being here would do, because I'm with you. I would love to see more sideline shots. I would like to see them get CD Lamb involved more down the line or down the sideline or on the outside of numbers. I would like to see them get CD Lamb more on these kind of post corner routes, as opposed to, as we saw on that game-winning drive, he's just running down the field. Teams know that's what he's going to do when he's lined up in the slot and he's not in motion. I talked about it last week in Tape Tuesday. Is there an 88 tail? Yes, there's an 88 tail. If 88's not going to go in motion and he's lined up in the slot, primarily close to the line of scrimmage, he's running a deep seam. That's all he's going to do. So, yeah, Kellen need to use his weapons a little bit better.
Super chat.
Mucho booming. They act like Kellen a genius play designer, but teams sitting on our routes. Yep. And his run schemes are average at best. Salute, Scott. Appreciate you. See, here's the thing, though. I think Kellen's run schemes are actually better this year. I just think he needs to constantly do it. Make other teams have to adapt to the run schemes. I think he's shown his ability to be better from a run scheme standpoint, but maybe not having a run game coordinator is why he doesn't stick to it week to week. Because if you think about teams that have had run game coordinators, you go up there and look in Philly. You go up there when Mike McDaniels was in San Fran, right? You look at Bill Callahan. What do they have in common? They do that ish every week. Like, that's who they are. That's what they do. And they build off of that. So y'all said this last week. Y'all said this last year and maybe even the previous year. Kellen Moore needs a run game coordinator. I don't even necessarily disagree. I think a run game coordinator would help him stay on track in doing what the Cowboys do best from a run game standpoint, as opposed to, hey, we got to hit a number. Now, I'm not just saying that hit a number thing. Mike McCarthy came out and said, yeah, there's a number we want to hit every week. And it felt like they were petty last week and trying to get to that number in the third quarter. We're going to run 11 straight times. And go look at how they ran it. It wasn't like it was some spectacular creative running. It was like, man, oh, y'all want me to run? Well, we ain't passing no more here. What's the day? The 13th. And Drummer Cam, appreciate you, Drummer Cam.
Super chat.
He said, typical Stephen Jones free agent acquisition. Sure. Veterans are helpful, but don't expect much from him on the field. I will say this. I ain't easing up. I'm still putting my foot on his neck. But I'll fall back a little bit on Stephen because at least he's making the attempt and he is going out here getting some of these what I call mercenaries. Jonathan Hankins, mercenary. Anthony Barr, mercenary. TY Hilton, mercenary. I'm all for going to get these mercenaries. So I don't have a problem with that. And then Ron dropped one earlier.
Super chat.
T-Law in the last 5 games. T-Law. 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, 0 picks. Oh. T-Law. Is that what they call him over there? Trevor Lawrence in the last 5 games. 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. He's balling. That's why last week when he got hurt, I was like, well, we might not have to play Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is turning it around, man. It's not going to be easy. I watched him in preseason last year. I'm like, dude got something, clearly. So it ain't going to be easy next week. And he's one of those guys that could take off and run. I think we got like 2 or 3 more let me get to. Hallelujah. You know how it is, man. People are going to feel how they feel about that man. It don't matter what, man.
Super chat.
Sky, didn't the whole fan base go the entire offseason saying Dak didn't have anybody good to play with? Now everything his fault. It is what it is. He is culpable. He's not beyond reproach, which is what we bring up every time, every week there's an issue, right? But give me a break.
Super chat.
King Element said, look at it like this. Dak has developed into a top 10 guy despite never having a good OC in his career. You give Dak a Shanahan or an Andy Reid, money. Come on, man. I've been saying this before I even came on this show, before I even came on YouTube. Like, look around at some of these top quarterbacks. They're going beyond OCs. Some of these top quarterbacks, they were always, and I say top, I mean guys who have either been champions or been successful in the playoffs or whatever. They've always been, and this was even during Tony, they've always been coupled with either top tier coaching or good coaching with top tier talent or good talent. Sometimes both at the same damn time. Here in this franchise, with these last 2 quarterbacks, that ain't the case. When I talk about overcoming, this was my thought process with number 9 at quarterback. Not 4, 9. Ain't nothing changed. And that's it. I think that's the last one. Oh, no. Behind the Lines dropped one.
Super chat.
He said, way too much Dak slander for me. I don't know if it's, I think this is about right, about normal. I mean, come on now. We Cowboys. Like you don't have to throw over the unscouted defense and deal with pressure and bad routes all game. Listen, man. That comes with the territory in regards to having to overcome stuff, right? Behind enemy lines. My problem is, my saying is, y'all just don't come on saying stuff. Like, we try to provide a tape. It costs $9.99 to go put on the tape and watch it yourself. $9.99 a month. I digress. Professor O. Shout out to Professor O. Professor O, we had a conversation about you yesterday. Great one, man. I want you to be a part of this thing we got going on. Spock, are you talking about me? No, Spock. The only reason why I brought up that guy is because somebody else brought him up. That's why I brought him up, Spock. I come on. If you've been watching my show, I don't come on here talking about that stuff. That's not. I don't. Come on. That sounds like some casual stuff. Well, Tony Romo ain't played in 7 years. The hell are we doing? All right, Spock. Yeah, I'm just letting you know, bro. That's the only reason why I came up. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm not angry, man. You know how I get. I get passionate about this thing, man. You know how I get. 9 deep is not letting this one go. I'm in the chat now, y'all. He says Damone Clark, Micah Parsons, Isaiah Simmons. He will not let Isaiah Simmons go. L, I need to get this on a shirt.
Super chat.
L dropped a deuce in the chat and said, it's we need a win o'clock. 100%. We need a win. And I hate that this had to be we just did a film review on the game-winning drive. And here we are talking about Kellen and Dak and Tony in regards to all this other ish. But Jose said Kellen not coaching to the player's strength. He's screwing them. I don't disagree. Like, I don't disagree in regards to the former. Like, he's not coach. That's not his style, right? His style was, this is the system. Y'all going to run this system. Nothing has changed. I have been on the forefront of that. Nothing has changed from the passing game concept. Things have changed from the running game concept and from the personnel concept in regards to the tight ends. But we're not leaning on that. But now we got TY Hilton. And if we're not going to lean on the other things, maybe TY Hilton will help open up that part of it. Maybe. I just wish they kind of went with this earlier in the season and said, screw it. If TY is not good, and he's not good. Gas prices, Dak. We back on that. Y'all was killing me weeks ago with that one. Killing me. I think we're good on the super chats. And we are hitting perfect time. We kind of in overtime, but not really. Professor, I would love more wheel routes from Peyton Hendershot. Would love it. I think the few times they've run it this year, and I remember two vividly, Giants and Bears. Both times he was open. So I don't remember seeing it since. And that's what I mean by, like, why don't we do certain things more often? But it is what it is. How much NIL money to join the team? To join Team Toxic. I told you, Toxic Tom. Listen, I don't have that toxic behavior just because maybe it's the fandom in me. There's always hope in every fan, right? The only time that will come out is during free agency. And like right after there's some failure in the postseason. If that happens, you'll get toxic Sky for a little bit, but then we got to move forward because that's what we're doing here, right? Did I talk at all about Jason Peters? Sky might missed it, but did you talk about All and Jason Peters? Who's All? Yes, I did talk about Jason Peters and the potential of them doing a rotation with Ball. That's what you mean. Josh Ball. Yeah, I talked about that. Yeah. I'm hoping the rotation is, hey, Josh Ball, we're going to get you 2 snaps to start the game, 2 runs or a quick screen just to get your confidence back. The pit big boy Jason Peters back in there. But in all seriousness, I wonder, Cowboys Nation, if they're worried about Jason Peters' his ability to be on the field as long, right? Like, it's his wind up to play 65 snaps. Iceberg Slim, not Q, said he guarantees me Sean Payton will be coach next year. He believes he can win with Dak Prescott. There's plenty of, I think, coordinators that would love to have this opportunity to coach him. 100%. But, man, that's a hell of a guarantee that you think Sean Payton. Listen, you won't see me complain. We already had this conversation. I forget who it was that I was debating with Sean Payton and McCarthy being the same. I said, yeah, their resumes are the same. But I think Sean Payton is a different offensive mind. All you got to go do is look at how he utilized weapons in New Orleans and how he utilized them. Slim. That's the difference. Sean Payton will be in here talking about something. Yeah, we just going to let Kellen do his thing. No. But I don't want to bring that conversation back. You won't find me complaining if he's a coach, though. All right, good stuff today. Tomorrow, we shift our focus, and this is a serious, because Texans, we kind of poo-pooed it. I ain't gonna lie to you, I poo-pooed it, but I'm not playing the game. I can poo-poo it. But I'm not poo-pooing this Jaguars team. The Jaguars team is playing some good ball. They have a good coach over there I respect in Doug Peterson. I was one of the very few during the Doug Peterson Philly era where I was like, hey, man, he's a good coach. And he won a Super Bowl, clearly, with a backup quarterback, so a good coach. And they kicked him off the team 2 years later, which is crazy to me. They decided to go with Carson Wentz. What are we doing? And now look. But Philly bounced back because that organization is different. They don't stop. and they are where they are. But Doug Peterson's in Jacksonville, and he's got them turned around. And we are going to dive into that Jacksonville offense. They got some pieces over there. All right. And then later, Mo will be back on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Probably will discuss more about this TY Hilton situation and whatever news that breaks here over the next few hours. Then I'll be back on Voss and Barty Live, riding shotgun, producing the best midday show out there on the volume. Voss and Barty, holla at us. 306-ish, 3-ish Mafia. And then come on back tomorrow morning and rock with your boy. And press his button. Get up out of here. She did come in here on a late talking about, see, she don't listen to sports as much as we do. Like, saying poo-poo is normal. YA Tittle. Where's Marv at? I want Marv to call in so he can be like, yeah, YA Tittle about to do his thing. Later, y'all. Love you. Peace.
Squad!